Hello guys, so today we have an information, a very important one. So we are getting intel, right? We've had this intel for some few days now about a situation in northern Mali, right? Today, Mali actually creased some FLA fighters, creased some JNIM fighters with airstrike, right? And they actually released the information on the official Malian platform. They got credible intels that terrorists were making movements. Now, this particular terrorists that the Malian creased today that you all saw were actually Libyan reinforcements to the FLA front, right? They were all creased. They were all creased, destroyed, right in their convoy, right? But they were the first batch of terrorists to come into northern Mali through Algeria. Now, there's a lot going on right now. I don't know where Algeria sits, but now I think I'm beginning to feel like Algeria still sits where they sit, because recently we heard Algeria was having some diplomatic talk with Russia, and now they've been having issue with France. You know, a lot of people must have been confused that, okay, what side is Algeria trying to, dab towards? But with this, I think Algeria is who he is, same yesterday, today, and forever. A pro-terrorist country. So Mali actually, I would say that strike by the Malian Air Force was actually a success, a large explosion. Now, the reason why you have a very vicious explosion in that vehicle was there were explosives in the vehicle and some explosive materials. According to the information we had, some of the terrorists that were actually neutralized in that vehicle were actually experts that could make, large amounts of explosives. They were like technicians, and they are terrorists too. They were sent in from Libya. So the strike from the Malian drone actually triggered a secondary explosion that actually gave that big blast with so much shockwave. In my own opinion, I felt like every terrorists and remnants in that vicinity, they were actually, cooked. When you tell someone that the person is cooked, that was the real definition of being cooked. The Malian cooked them. So that is a big message, that the Malians have good intelligence, they have good surveillance, intrepid surveillance, a surveillance that don't sleep, in my own opinion, because I wasn't really expecting the Malians to really be that fast. Yeah. That is why we will keep giving our intelligence out, so that the necessary people that need to see it will see it by every means possible. Congratulations to the Malians on the first step. Now, recently we've actually gave another intel that on this platform, that the FLA fighters, statistically, if you look at the contextual statistics, the number of FLA fighters is on a massive decline. That's why you had recently, I think around this week, you've been seeing a lot of propagandas like trying to taint the image of the Malians. In the middle of this, we've been seeing Assimi Goïta giving out a diplomatic opportunity. In my own opinion, a diplomatic getaway to some of these terrorists. And, it has yielded a positive result. A lot of terrorists have been giving up arms. They've been coming back home. Yes. A lot of people are saying that why is Assimi Goïta giving these people the opportunity to lay down their weapons? A lot of them has laid down their weapon. And also, laying down their weapon has a lot to do with their leaders now pledging full support to the Malian authority, that they are ready to support, the Malian government. And they've been getting a lot of jabs and left hook from the Gatia, militia, that has also been very decisive in this counter-offensive and counter-terrorism operation in the Menaka, Kidal, and Tinzouantin region of Mali. Now, we've not been getting the same result that we're getting from the Gatia. We've not been getting it from the Dogon militia, right? The Dogons are actually doing their thing, but the Gatia is just on a whole new level. So now, after a lot of them, they gave up their weapons and they were ready to become a new being. They are still in custody, you know. Some of these terrorists were actually caught this week again under the pretense that, you know, some of them were carrying some ID card, you know, pro-government movement and all of that. They were actually recognized and they were caught. A lot of, you know, activities have been going on. Technical, you know, intelligence, counter-intelligence and a lot. And the Malians is just showing that, you know, we know what we know and we know what we are doing. So far, so good. The Malians have been taking the right step. They've been arresting the people they are supposed to arrest. They've been lenient on the people they're supposed to be lenient with. You can't deceive the Malians. That is just what I'm trying to bring out here. My own opinion was Assimi Goita has those people in the corner, back against the wall. That's why you see the Azawadians. They sent some people to, you know, France, to Ukraine, special forces training, drone training, a lot of sniper course. We actually gave the intel here. But the reason why all these dramatic twists were going on was because the Malians were already crushing these guys at a level that if the Malian launch a full-scale air offensive, in my own opinion, if the Malian go airborne, within a week, 7 days, day and night shelling, they would have been able to completely eradicate everything called Azawad. They would have been able to completely, in fact, exterminate all of them, in my opinion, based on the intelligence we're getting, because, you know, the numbers were very, very depleted. The morale of the FLE fighters were shattered. There was no morale from anywhere. In fact, many of you would not hear anything about attack. They tried the fiber optic drone attack. It did not work. So, you know, different drone jamming systems. One thing they've been doing recently is, even whenever they sent the drones, the African Corps were able to trace them back and destroy the drone units, destroy the control, destroy everything about them. So they've been back against the wall. That was why they had to make that urgent call for training, where the Ukrainians offered to assist, and they came in back through Mauritania and all of that. The Malians got them and creased them, you know. But there was a group that came out last week to call for, I mean, they needed backup. They needed fighters to rise up because the numbers have dropped. This is the video. Yeah, these are the last of the Azawadians. They've been battered all over the place. Except if they want to, you know, they want to tell lies, or they want to lean on their Western propaganda medias and all of that. But based on credible, precise information, they've been battered to the limit. So they called on help. They called for help, and ladies and gentlemen, according to the latest information we are hearing, they've gotten help. We don't know how true this is, but I just stumbled across an information that now the Azawadian group, they've been able to secure some number of backup from Libya. And, you know, now these fighters are now moving through Algerian deserts. They are going to be entering northern Mali. If I know about this, I know the Malian intelligence already know about this, and I know the Malians are preparing for that. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think trying to approach everything diplomatically, trying to, you know, leave a gateway for surrender, do you think is the right thing to do? I actually do believe that sometimes giving your enemy, a terrorist, adversary, or whatever, the opportunity to negotiate a surrender can be good sometimes, you know, because you don't know how much sleeper cells they have. And if you give the opportunity to diplomacy, to negotiate and return back to peaceful ways, it could actually bring out a positive result. But sometimes it could be very, very negative, because some of those people that you are given the opportunity, to come back and embrace peace, they might actually be informants. Anything can happen. So it's a catch-22. But the Malians are like standing on business, and they are giving opportunity to these guys to return, and it has yielded positive results. But then with this video that we just got of that's the thing, we don't know if this is a propaganda just to kind of send the wrong message out to the public that now we got backup from Libya. But one thing I do know is that a lot of them that have been killed lately, some of them have been fighters from Libya, and we know the people that are sponsoring the combat in Libya is NATO. So the thing is, I don't know, but I'm taking every piece of information very, very seriously. But one thing I do know is that if they got a backup and I know about it, this information is so public to the point where I feel like the Malians already, the Malians intelligence, which is one of the best intelligence in Africa presently, I believe they know about it. And they would have prepared a counter-strike measure towards it. In my own opinion, if I ever had the opportunity to have power in this situation, I won't go for diplomacy with the terrorists. I'll go for total decapitation. And it will be done in a very devastating fashion. It's just my approach. I don't know how to think in a peaceful way when you confront my people with threat. I go for like a crushing defeat. Now I would use this opportunity to go back to my initial suggestion. We are seeing the Malians, Burkina Faso, they continue to bring in a lot of, MRAPs, bring in, MLARs, a lot of good equipment, right? But this is what I would say. I know it's landlocked, right? And these are the equipment that are going to help them a lot. But, with one effective measure that the terrorists always take, which is to plant landmines, I think it's high time the Malians invest a lot. The Burkinabes, the Nigerian fighting force, I believe that it's high time they start thinking more of going airborne. In my own opinion, that's what I think. I think they should be going airborne. Airborne all through. And I'm serious about that. They should go airborne. It's the best way, it's the fastest way to crease this ball, to make sure that they render these guys useless. The fastest way to capitulate these guys is to go airborne. Which I believe that, going airborne will reduce the risk of, getting jammed by a landmine where an ambush will be prepared and all of that. An ambush can still be prepared for an offensive helicopter. But at the end of the day, you can't compare when 7 armored vehicles coming at you to when 7 aircraft, offensive, helicopter aircraft is coming at you. Is going to have a different result. I think the air to ground negotiation is going to have a very devastating effect. So guys, you can drop your opinion on what you think in the comment section below. The fight continues. And ladies and gentlemen, let's push propaganda aside. The Malians are really, really getting a very significant result. And you can see the other day, the Burkinabes declared that 72.8% of their territory has completely been, cleared of terrorism. That means you don't have anything like terrorism going. You don't have the threat in this region. Heavily militarized. In the other positions where they've not declared, they already have boots on the ground. Those are the regions where you will hear that is to tell you that the fight continues. Those are the regions where you will hear that JNIM attacked a particular, detachments. JNIM attacked this. Some of this skirmish, the troops win. Some of this skirmish, the troops get casualties too. But we are talking the casualty in like 3, 2, 5. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the Malians, the Burkinabes, they continue to gain territories and they continue to advance on the line of contact. Guys, this is a big fight, but you know, it's like the AES state are fighting against the West. That's what it looks like. The West is opening another front in the Sahel. So with the result they are getting, we have to give those guys a lot of credit. So in my own opinion, if these guys can get help, the best way for us to help the AES state is to make sure we help the best way we can, pushing out the message to the necessary authorities. If we can't, create a kind of awareness that can, you know, reach out to the whole world. We can create an awareness that can reach out to the necessary authorities that will enable them to take the quickest action to kind of nullify some threats. That is why I do what I do, and that is why I really thank God for the community I have. This is one of the best community in Sahelian or African terrorism, counter-terrorism operation. I really want to appreciate everybody for always supporting. Your comments are always insightful. In fact, when I read some comments here, I learn a lot from you guys. I really want to appreciate everybody on this channel and on this platform for giving us the opportunity to be able to promote Pan-Africanism and counter-terrorism campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to have spoken to you guys today. We will reach out back again during the day when we have further, you know, intelligence. Thank you for watching, and God bless you all. And much respect to all of you. You guys are my ultimate VIPs.